Hey everyone, I am Cona and I'm gonna be your math tutor. Today, we are going to tackle about horizontal asymptote. Before going further with this topic, what is an asymptote? An asymptote is a straight line which acts as a boundary for the graph of a function. As far as I know, there are vertical asymptote, slant asymptote, and whole asymptote, but we are not going too far from that because we're going to stick and only tackle about the horizontal asymptote. Now, what is a horizontal asymptote? In simple words, the line or curve of the graph of x almost but never touch another line. In this video, we're going to know how to determine if it is a horizontal asymptote or not. Horizontal asymptote is determined by comparing the degrees of n of x, which stands for the numerator, and d of x stands for the denominator. In the equation of f of x equals to n of x divided by d of x. There are three rules that horizontal asymptote follows. So, as I've said earlier, there are three rules. First, the degree of the numerator is less than the degree of the denominator. In this case, the asymptote is the horizontal equals to 0. This will be the example for the first rule. This is an example for the first rule. F of equal to x raised to the power of 2 plus 3x plus 5 divided by x raised to the power of 3 minus 27. Now, we are going to determine if the equation is a horizontal asymptote or not. Since we know the first rule, which states that the degree of numerator is less than the degree of denominator, how are we going to determine? As we look into the equation, it is very complicated, but it is only simple. We are going to compare the leading coefficient of the numerator and the denominator. In this equation, the leading coefficient are dx raised to the power of 2 and x raised to the power of 3. We are going to compare both of the leading coefficients exponent. In the numerator, x raised to the power of 2 is less than x raised to the power of 3. This means that it is an horizontal asymptote. Why? Because the degree of numerator is less than the degree of the denominator. It is simply stated in the first rule. And if the equation follow the first rule, this means that the horizontal line of this equation is y equals to 0. And the degree of the numerator is equal to the degree of the denominator. In this case, the asymptote is the horizontal line equals a over b, where a is the leading coefficient in the numerator and b is the leading coefficient in the denominator. So here is the example. This is the example for the second rule. F of x is equal to 12x plus 1 over 4x plus 2. Now, as we can see, the leading coefficient of both numerator and denominator are equal. Now, how are we going to get the horizontal asymptote? We are going to get the leading coefficient, which are the 12 and the 4. Both numerator we are going to divide. So 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. Now, since we already divided the leading coefficient, the answer of the horizontal asymptote will be x is equal to 3. Last but not the least, the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator. This means that there is no horizontal asymptote in the equation. So here is the example for the third. And lastly, this is the example for the third rule. F of x is equal to negative 2x raised to the power of 2 plus 5x minus 9 divided by x raised to the power of 2 plus 1. Now, since the third rule states that if the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator, the graph of f has no horizontal function. Now, in the equation, the leading coefficients are the negative 2x raised to the power of 2 for the numerator and x raised to the power of 2 for the denominator. As we can see that the numerator negative 2x raised to the power of 2 is greater than the leading coefficient of the denominator, which is the x raised to the power of 2. This means that this equation has no horizontal function, since the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator. This equation is already a vertical asymptote. So that's all for this video, horizontal asymptote. Anyway, thanks for watching and hope you learned something from this tutorial. Have a great day.